probably had a chance to look through the program, or maybe you already heard some speakers. Can you just share your impression about the yesterday and today program and the whole event and the topic, and what's your...
It's been a very interesting event. There's quite a diverse range of different companies here with some quite interesting technologies. We're talking with one or two to see if there are applications for some of the companies for their technologies in the UK, and we'll carry on talking with specifically with some of the agricultural companies with a view to trying to do some business with them.
So what do you know about these technologies here in Russia? How this sector is?
Well, we hear all sorts of interesting stories back in the UK. We have a lot of our students have come and worked in Russia and worked particularly on the big arable farms with the big European and Western manufacturers like John Deere or Case New Holland or Claas. And they've told us all sorts of interesting stories about the potential that Russia has for producing particularly grain, and some of the problems and challenges of growing and producing crops and selling machinery into this market.
What about the market in the UK? Can you say how it's working there? I mean, the IoT technologies, how spread? How does it spread there?
The IoT technology, or what we term now as Agriculture 4.0, is developing very quickly. The top 25% of farmers are taking up as much of this technology as they can get hold of. The bottom 25% are not taking it up and they're going out of business. So you find that there is a lot of take-up, particularly of things like drones, satellite imagery, data analytics. There is an enormous amount of work going on, but particularly in things like agronomy companies and machinery dealers and machinery manufacturers who are very interested in the potential for developing this technology. The view, having been in Europe just before Easter last year, I attended a very big industrial event where it was all of the leading manufacturers from around the world, agricultural machinery manufacturers, and the view is that this is going to totally revolutionise the way agriculture actually behaves, the way that farmers deal with both their suppliers, their machinery suppliers, their seed, pesticide, fertilizer suppliers, their agronomists. So it's going to completely revolutionise the entire of the agricultural business, and they are looking at completely new business models in terms of how they can develop their businesses to adapt to the technology as it develops. So there is a huge amount of interest. There's an awful lot of work going on. The big companies are really looking to see how the market's developing. They're looking at particularly the data analytics and providing extra value for customers using data. So everybody's very aware that this is a very rapidly changing market, and if they don't stay on top of it, they're likely to be out of business very quickly. So it's a top priority for pretty much all of the big agricultural machinery companies and all of the other big agricultural businesses in the West.
So basically, to have that kind of rapid speed like you have in UK, we need to make that kind of events, to explain what kind of information the manufacturers can get here in Russia, right? So do you plan to visit another events like this?
I'm back in Russia in 2 weeks' time, talking at another event. There's a big agricultural event going on in Moscow. I'll be speaking at that. There is, I think, a lot of interest in Russia, particularly from producers, as to what this technology can do for them and how they need to engage with it in order not to be left behind.